Hi everyone. I would like to start with a question. During this quarantine, are you moving or at rest? Hope you know the answer. Right. So, our topic for today is learning about the fundamentals of motion. So, we would learn about it. Let me tell you that in this universe, almost everything is in motion. That is what I feel, or many of scientists, scientific fraternity feel. If we look at ourselves, with the limited resources, we feel we are at rest. But when we see in a grand view, then probably we will be in motion. So what I want to say is something I'll tell you after 1 minute. Before that, I want to ask you a question. Right now, is this board at rest or in motion? Right. So what is your answer? If you know the answer, you can tell it out, or you can tell it here. Right. I hope some of you might be telling it is at rest. That is what you see right now. The reason is you compare this board with probably this wall and you tell that this is at rest. Or some would say that, some intelligent students would say it is in motion. When you compare this with some star or some other planet or with sun, then it will be in motion, because compared to them, Earth is moving. So this also should be in motion. So it's very difficult to tell. Let me tell you, this is one of the fundamental characteristics of all the living things, that is showing movement. We have learned it earlier in the lower classes. Right. So when we say the body is in motion, so it is a body is said to be in motion when its position changes continuously with respect to a stationary object taken as reference point. Example, I can give you an example of a school bus. When school bus is traveling from one place to another place, during that short journey, there are houses which are at rest with the ground. So when you compare the bus position with respect to those houses, obviously it is in motion. It is showing some motion, so because it is changing its position. So what is the common characteristic of all the moving bodies is that they change their position with time. This is one more important thing you all must realize. Whenever a body is changing position continuously, it is changing along with a reference point, or along with time also it is changing its position. Right? Then rest and motion are relative terms. For example, let us say an Ola car is carrying some passengers. A passenger who is inside the Ola car, he feels that his co-traveler, co-passenger is at rest. But whereas the person who is outside the Ola car, who is watching them, he feels he is in motion. Now see, same person who is sitting in the car, for his co-passenger he feels he is at rest, and for a person who is standing outside and watching that moving Ola car, he feels the person is in motion. So it is all about perception. It is all about with what we compare. Okay. So now it is very clear. We can tell whether any object, whether it is in motion or at rest. It all depends on with what we compare with what we measure with. Right. Motion along a straight line. Right. You can see in the picture here. There is a person, he started traveling from O to A. Now at position A, you can see there is a tree at rest. So let us take our reference point, means comparing point. Tree is the comparing point. Now after some 1 minute, the person is at position B. After 1.5 minutes, person is at position C. So you could see person is changing his position with respect to the reference point, that is tree. So we can say the person is in motion. We can also notice one more thing. This person is changing his position in the same direction. with respect to the tree as well as the time. So we can say this person is traveling in a straight line. He is making a motion in a straight line. It is what is written here. If person changes his position in the same direction with respect to time, then the person is said to be moving in straight line. No. There are some other motions like oscillatory motion, circulatory motion, or rotatory motion. There are so many different kinds of motion which we have learned earlier, but we shall confine ourselves to objects moving in straight line in this lesson, nothing else. Whatever equations we are going to write, all are applicable only for objects moving in straight line in this lesson. Right. So next we'll move on to the topic physical quantities. The quantities which can be measured directly or indirectly are called physical quantities. Right? Hope this is very simple to understand. Any quantity which can be measured, we call it as physical quantity. Example: length, area, volume, velocity, mass, energy, temperature, pressure, density, etc. There are so many things. Right. Now we'll learn about the classification of physical quantities. One is scalar quantity, other is vector quantity. Scalar quantity means a physical quantity which can be completely expressed in magnitude or size only is called scalar. For example, let us say we are saying that a bag of cement is 25 kg. So I said 25 is the number, kg is the unit. So the specification is complete. Let us say we say the car traveled 5 kilometers. 5 is the number, kilometer is the unit. The specification is complete. So scalar quantity requires only two things. One is the magnitude and the other is the unit for it. If unit is not there, then the number does not have any value, my dear friends. So that's very important. So that's an example of scalar quantity. There are so many other examples like energy, temperature. All these simply have to be expressed with their magnitude and unit, nothing else, no directions. Whereas vector quantity, the physical quantity whose complete specification requires magnitude and direction both. For example, for vectors require direction also. Let us say, if I say a boy traveled 1 kilometer, then I'm talking about distance. If I say the boy traveled 1 kilometer in south direction, then I'm talking about something called as displacement, which is having a direction. So displacement is called a vector. Right? I'll give you one more example. Let us say if I say the aeroplane is traveling with a speed of 400 km per hour due north, then I am talking about velocity. If simply I say the aeroplane is traveling due north, only the aeroplane is traveling only with 400 km per hour, then I am talking about speed. Speed is scalar and velocity is vector quantity, because in velocity vector we are mentioning the direction. So that's the difference between scalar quantity and vector quantity. Some of the examples of vector quantity are displacement, velocity, acceleration, force. All these require direction also to be mentioned. Right. One more interesting thing, a vector quantity is written by a symbol and arrow mark on top of it. Like example, F bar, A bar. Right. So we are generally doing in some books, they give it a cap. Some books, they give an arrow. This is how vectors are represented. Hope you understood about difference between scalar and vector quantity. Friends, for further understanding about scalar and vector quantity, we'll take example of distance and displacement. So what is distance, what is displacement? We'll try to understand with an example. Let us say this is home of a boy, and he started from his home and is traveling 3 kilometers towards south, and he reached his friend's house. And from the friend's house, they started traveling 4 kilometers west to school. Right? So now, if somebody asks us what is the distance traveled by the boy, straight away the answer is 3 plus 4, it is 7 kilometers. 3 plus 4, 7 kilometers. If somebody asks us what is displacement, then we would say that it is the shortest distance between the starting point and final point. In this journey, this is the starting point and this is the final point. So we got to join them with a straight line. So this becomes the displacement. So how much is that? That we can simply calculate with the help of Pythagoras theorem, because this is a right angle triangle which you learn in trigonometry. So on calculating, we would get this around 5 kilometers. So now somebody asks us what is the displacement? Displacement is 5 kilometers. I hope you understood. And if you want to mention, we have to mention direction also. So that is in this direction. So it is southwest. So we can say displacement is 5 kilometers due southwest. This is how we distinguish between distance and displacement. We'll take up in the same example. Let us say the boy traveled 3 kilometers due south and then 4 kilometers due west, and then he found a school is closed to on that day, and then he returned to his home in this way. So totally he traveled a distance, how much? Yes. So it is 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 5, 12 kilometers. If somebody asks you what is the displacement made by the boy in this whole journey, and what is the answer? The answer is 0. Why? Because the starting point and the final point in the second case which I spoke is the same. In second case, where I said he started here and all the way he ended up here. So the starting point and final point are same. Then I say displacement is 0. Right. So it is 0. Remember that both distance and displacement have same units, that is meter. Right. We'll take up one more example here. Let us say a boy is competing in running. Let us say this is the running track, athletic track. He started, let us say this track is having a radius r. Let us say he started from this position and he ended up here. And what is the distance traveled by him? Our answer is he traveled the circumference of that circular track. So circumference is nothing but 2 pi r. But what about displacement? Starting point and final point are same. So what is the displacement? 0. Right? So in this again the same case I will ask you. Let us say the boy started here and ended up exactly opposite. Okay, A, B. Now you tell what is distance and displacement. Now the distance traveled by the boy is, you can see, half of the circle, that is pi r. Okay, in this case it is pi r. And what about displacement? From here starting and final point, join them in a straight line. So what is, this is r and this is r. So totally it is 2r. So that is the displacement. Hope you understood. Right. For further clarification, what we would do, we would differentiate between distance and displacement. We'll make a table of it. Right. So firstly, distance, according to the definition, it is the actual path covered by the body. When it comes to displacement, it is the shortest path. Now it is between. initial and final position. Right. Secondly, it is a scalar quantity, because for distance we don't mention any direction, whereas displacement we mention direction, so it is a vector quantity. Third, distance can never be negative and it can never be zero. Distance is always positive. It is positive. It is positive, whereas displacement can be positive, negative, as well as zero. It can be that also, right? So distance, I would represent distance with S and displacement with S bar. Okay, so distance always can be greater or equal to displacement. That is one more different, but displacement will be always either less or equal to distance. Hope you understood the differences between distance and displacement. I'm going to post some questions at the end of the video. Please answer those and note down in your book along with the date and your parent sign. After reopening, we will check it. Right. Friends, we will learn some numericals based on distance and displacement. Right? We'll take on 4 and I'll give you 4 as homework. Right? First one, I'll read out for you. A player throws a ball vertically upwards. It rises up to a height of 6 meters and comes back in the player's hand, that is initial position, after some time. Calculate the total distance covered by the ball, the displacement of the ball. 2 things you have to find out. Let us see. So the first one, it says that there is a ball. It is thrown upwards. It went upwards to a distance of 6 meters. So this is 6 meters. So they are asking distance. Always I will represent distance with S and displacement with S bar for simplification. So distance traveled is, you can clearly see, its starting position is this. It went up here 6 meters and it came back 6 meters. So 6 plus 6, it's 12 meters. Whereas displacement is 0 meter, because the starting and final point is same. So displacement will be 0 meter. Now we'll see the second question. Second question for you. A boy moves a distance of 3 meters towards north, then 4 meters towards east, and finally 6 meters towards south. Calculate the distance travelled by the boy and then resultant displacement. Let's take directions here. Okay, we all know directions well. This is north, this is east, west, and south. So let us say a boy travelled 3 kilometers north in this direction. Let us say this is the starting point. Okay, this is 3 km, and then he travelled 4 kilometers east, and then he travelled 6 kilometers south. Okay, so from here to here it is 6 kilometers south. Now they are asking us what is the total distance and displacement. They are asking us these 2 things. Okay, right. So distance, it is very clear, 3, 4 and 6. Totally it is 13 kilometer. So this is 13 kilometer. And displacement means this is the starting and this is the final point. Draw a straight line between them. Right. So this you have to find out. How to find out? If suppose this is 4, this also must be 4. And you can see it is a right angle triangle. I'll give a name to this triangle. Let us call this as A, B and C. In triangle ABC, now by Pythagoras theorem, this you would learn in your mathematics, applicable for right angle triangles. So we know that AC square, you can see AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square. This is the formula according to Pythagoras theorem. Hypotenuse square is equal to adjacent square plus opposite side square. Right. So AC, which is unknown to us, we have to find. Let's call that as x square. X square is equal to AB square, 4 square plus BC square. It is, if total is 6 and if this is 3, then what is left out? 3. So this is also 3. So I would write here 3 square. So it is 16 plus 9. So square rooting on both sides. Square rooting on both sides I would get. So x is equal to 5 kilometer. That means displacement is 5 kilometer. This is how we solve. Let's look into the third problem. An object is moving in a circle of radius 5 cm with O as center. It starts from A. Calculate the distance and displacement in two cases. First case, when it completes half the circle, and second case, when it completes one full circle. This question already we have discussed, I think, when I was giving, as I was telling the lesson part. So we'll see it again. Okay, let us say there is a circular track. Okay. Let us say this is the center O. Radius is 5. Right. Okay. In the first case, they are asking us object makes half circle. In that case, what is the distance? From here it comes somewhere here. So what is the distance? Distance, it is nothing but half of the circumference. Half of the circumference of circle. Which is nothing but half into 2 pi r. 2 get cancelled, so we are left out with pi r centimeter. R value is given 5. Since R value is 5 centimeter, so it is 5 pi centimeter. So this is the distance. When it comes to displacement, so this is the starting point and this is the final point. So I'll draw a straight line between the final point and the initial point. So you can see this is R and this is also R. Okay, so it is R plus R. So it is nothing but 5 plus 5. So that is 10 centimeter. Okay, 2R. It is 2, 5. Right. So this is for the first case. When object moves full circle In that case, what is the distance? In that case, distance is 2 pi r. So it is 2 pi into 5, that is 10 pi centimeter. And when it comes to displacement, it started here and it ended here. So it is 0. I hope you understood this. We'll move on to next problem. A boy starts moving from his house and reaches a bus stand at a distance of 200 meters located in east direction. From there, he returns back along the same road and reaches a shop located at 40 meters. What is the displacement of the boy? That's a simple question. Let us say this is the boy's house. From here, house, and he went to, this is the bus stand. The distance is 200 meters. And then from the bus stand he came back to a shop. Let us say shop is here, okay, which is located at 40 meters from the bus stand. What is the displacement made by the what? So this is the starting point and this is the final point. We got to find out this distance x. So it is x is nothing but here 200 minus 40, that is 160 meters. So this is the displacement made by the ball. Right. So I'm going a few questions for your homework. Do that. Next class we'll discuss the answer.